You've spent hours coding, building projects, and applying everywhere. But no job offer yet. You're not alone. Today on the Untold X, we're diving deep into why new programmers struggle to get hired, and the real success stories that prove you can break through. So, what's up everyone? Today we're diving into something that I know is on a lot of your minds, especially if you're just starting out in the tech world. We're constantly surrounded by this idea that programming is skill to have. And look, in today's incredibly fast-paced, technology-driven world, that's not wrong. It's consistently ranked as one of the most in-demand and promising career paths you can choose. You see the ads for boot camps, the comprehensive online courses, the university degrees, all painting this picture of an exciting future. They promise high-paying roles, the chance to work on cutting-edge projects, and that much-desired flexible work environment. It's a compelling vision, no doubt. And because of that, it's absolutely no surprise that thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of people from all sorts of backgrounds are jumping into coding. They're bringing passion, they're bringing ambition, and most importantly, they're bringing a real hope of changing their lives for the better. And honestly, that hope isn't misplaced. The tech industry is genuinely vast, it's dynamic, and it's constantly expanding. New technologies pop up all the time, startups are born, established enterprises have to evolve. All of this creates a steady stream of new opportunities pretty much every single day. So yeah, the potential is definitely there. Success possible. I've seen it. You've probably seen stories of it. Countless individuals who started with little to no coding knowledge and are now enjoying really thriving careers. They're building cool stuff, solving interesting problems, and making a real impact. But here's the thing, and this is what we need to talk about. While that future is undeniably bright, the actual journey for new programmers, that road to landing your first gig, is often much longer, much more challenging, and way more difficult than many expect. It's not always a straight line from hello world to you're hired. All right, so let's talk about the first major hurdle, and this one can be incredibly frustrating. It's what I call the entry-level paradox. You're fresh out of a boot camp, or you've just finished a degree, or maybe you're self-taught and ready to make the leap. You start hitting the job boards, filtering for junior or entry-level positions, and then you see it. Almost every single one of these supposedly beginner roles is asking for experience. We're talking 1, 2, sometimes even 3 years of practical on-the-job work. They might list specific frameworks you need to have used in a commercial setting, or demand a portfolio already brimming with complex projects, or even prior internship experience. For someone who is genuinely to the field, this feels like a classic catch-22. How are you supposed to get the experience if every job that could give you that experience already requires you to have it? It's a loop that can make you feel like you're hitting a brick wall before you've even properly started. You've put in the hours learning, you've built up your foundational skills, and you're eager to contribute. But the door seems to be locked by this very requirement. It's not just a minor inconvenience. For many, it becomes a significant source of stress and self-doubt, making them question if they're even on the right path. This situation is particularly tough because the term entry-level itself implies a starting point, a place where learning on the job is expected and part of the growth process. Yet the reality of many job descriptions paints a different picture. It suggests that companies are often looking for someone who can hit the ground running with minimal ramp-up time, even for roles designated for newcomers. This mismatch between expectation and reality is one of the core reasons why so many aspiring developers find the initial job search so disheartening. It's a systemic issue that makes breaking into the industry feel less like an open invitation and more like an exclusive club with unwritten rules. Next up, and this is a big one, let's talk about your portfolio. So you've gone through countless online tutorials, maybe you've completed a structured bootcamp curriculum, and you've got a collection of projects. That's a great start, a really solid foundation, but here's where a lot of new developers run into another challenge, translating that educational experience into what employers perceive as real-world problem-solving capability. While those tutorials and guided projects are fantastic for learning syntax and basic concepts, they don't always showcase your ability to tackle unique, unscripted problems, which is exactly what employers are looking for. They want to see how you think, how you approach a challenge, and how you apply your knowledge to build something functional and meaningful. The issue arises when a portfolio looks too generic, too much like a checklist of common tutorial projects. Think about it. If every hiring manager sees dozens of portfolios filled with the same to-do list app, the same basic calculator, or the same weather app clone, how is yours going to make a memorable impression? These projects, while valuable for learning, often don't demonstrate the depth of understanding or the creative problem-solving skills that companies are really hunting for. A weak or undifferentiated portfolio can easily get lost in the shuffle, especially in a market that's becoming increasingly crowded with aspiring developers. So the key here is to move beyond just following along. Employers are looking for projects that show initiative. Perhaps you identified a real-world problem and tried to solve it with code, or you contributed to an open-source project, or you built something more complex that required integrating multiple technologies or APIs. They want to see projects that have a bit of your own personality and passion in them. Something that tells a story about your journey and your capabilities. It's about demonstrating not just that you code, but that you can, like a developer, and build solutions, even if they're on a smaller scale to begin with. This is your chance to show, not just tell. Okay, so you've navigated the application process. Your portfolio has caught someone's eye, and you've actually landed an interview. That's a huge step, seriously. Congratulations. But then comes what many consider the most daunting part. The technical interview. Even after all the preparation, many new developers feel completely overwhelmed by the types of challenges that get thrown their way. We're talking about live algorithm coding, sometimes on a whiteboard with someone scrutinizing your every move, or deep dives into system design concepts that you might have only read about, or those tricky take-home assignments with tight deadlines and complex requirements. It can feel like an intense interrogation rather than a conversation. A lot of this intimidation factor comes down to a lack of specific interview preparation. Knowing how to code is one thing. Knowing how to perform well in a high-pressure technical interview setting is another skill entirely. Many aspiring developers focus heavily on learning languages and frameworks, but might not practice common interview question patterns, or learn how to effectively communicate their thought process while coding, or even how to ask clarifying questions when they're stuck. Without this targeted prep, it's easy to freeze up or underperform, even if you actually know the material. It's like training for a marathon by only jogging around the block. The real event is a different beast, and then layered on top of all this external pressure is the internal battle that so many of us face. Imposter syndrome. That nagging feeling that you're not good enough, that you don't really belong, that you're going to be found out as a fraud. This can be especially potent for new developers who are acutely aware of what they know. Even if you ace a technical question, that little voice can whisper doubts. It's emotionally draining, it saps your confidence, and it can make the entire interview process feel like a constant test of your self-worth, not just your technical skills. This combination of external challenge and internal doubt makes technical interviews a significant hurdle. It's not just what you know, the unseen power of connections and mentorship. Now, this next point might seem a bit counterintuitive, especially in a field that sometimes glorifies the image of the lone coder, headphones on, hacking away late into the night. But the reality is, the myth of the solitary genius programmer is largely just that, a myth. In the real world, and especially when it comes to getting hired, networking and human connections play an absolutely massive role. Many new programmers seriously underestimate just how much access, community support, and valuable referrals can influence their chances of landing that first opportunity. It's often not just about, but also knows you and what you can do. Think about it from a hiring manager's perspective. They're often inundated with applications, many from candidates who look fairly similar on paper. A referral from a trusted current employee, or a positive interaction at a local tech meetup, or even a strong recommendation from a mentor, can instantly elevate your application from the anonymous pile to the top of the consideration list. These connections can provide insights into company culture, upcoming roles that might not even be publicly advertised yet, and crucial advice on how to navigate the hiring process for a specific company. Without actively building these relationships, you're essentially relying solely on the strength of your cold application, which is a much harder path. This is where the lack of mentors or a supportive industry network can really become a roadblock. A good mentor can provide guidance not just on technical skills, but on career strategy, interview practice, and even help you make those initial connections. Being part of a community, whether it's online or local, offers a space to share frustrations, learn from peers, and discover opportunities you wouldn't find otherwise. New programmers who operate in isolation often miss out on these invaluable resources, making it much more difficult to get their foot in the door and to stay motivated through the inevitable rejections and challenges of the job hunt. Defining your digital self. The critical importance of clear personal branding. All right, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked but is incredibly important in today's digital-first job market, your personal brand. Many newcomers to programming, understandably focused on acquiring technical skills, often fail to strategically define their niche, present a coherent and professional online presence, or clearly articulate what makes them unique and valuable to a potential employer. Think of it like this. In a vast sea of applicants, many of whom might have similar technical foundations, how do you make specific value, your story, and your potential shine through? This isn't about being an influencer, it's about professional presentation. Your online presence across platforms like LinkedIn, GitHub, and even a personal portfolio website acts as your digital handshake, often forming a recruiter's or hiring manager's very first impression of you. If these profiles are incomplete, inconsistent, or don't clearly showcase your skills, projects, and aspirations, it can lead to missed opportunities before you even get a chance to speak to someone. For example, a GitHub profile with no activity or poorly documented projects doesn't inspire confidence. A LinkedIn profile that's sparse or doesn't highlight relevant learning and projects might get skipped over. It's about curating how you appear to the professional world. A lack of clarity in your personal branding means you're not effectively communicating someone should hire you over another candidate. Are you passionate about front-end development with a keen eye for user experience? Do you love tackling complex back-end logic puzzles? Have you got a unique background that brings a different perspective to problem solving? Highlighting these aspects, tailoring your narrative, and ensuring your online footprint consistently reflects your goals and abilities can make a significant difference. It helps recruiters understand your focus and makes it easier for them to see you as a good fit for a specific role, rather than just another name on a list. Riding the economic waves, understanding market realities and their impact. And then, of course, there are the factors that are, frankly, often out of your direct control as an individual job seeker, the broader economic conditions and the overall health of the job market. It's an important reality to acknowledge because it can significantly influence the hiring landscape, especially for entry-level positions. The tech industry, while generally robust, isn't immune to economic downturns, shifts in investor sentiment, or periods where companies decide to implement hiring freezes or even conduct layoffs. These macroeconomic trends can create a ripple effect that makes the job search even more competitive for everyone, but particularly for those trying to break in. During periods of economic uncertainty, companies often become more cautious with their hiring. They might prioritize filling senior roles or roles that are deemed absolutely critical, while putting a pause on hiring for junior positions that typically require more mentorship and ramp-up time. You might see fewer entry-level jobs advertised, or the requirements for those jobs might become even stricter as companies try to de-risk their hires. News of tech layoffs can also be disheartening, creating a sense that opportunities are shrinking, even if the long-term outlook for tech skills remains strong. This environment can make an already challenging search feel even more uphill. It's crucial to understand this context, not to get discouraged, but to strategize accordingly. When the market is tight, things like a strong network, a truly outstanding portfolio, and impeccable interview skills become even more critical differentiators. It might mean being more flexible in the types of roles you consider, or perhaps focusing on continuous learning and project building to stay sharp and ready for when opportunities do arise. Acknowledging these external pressures helps you set realistic expectations and adapt your job search strategy, rather than internalizing market-driven difficulties as personal failings. It's another layer of complexity in the journey to that first developer job. From struggle to success, keeping hope and action alive on your coding journey. So we've talked through a lot of the challenges, and it can definitely sound tough. But here's the really important part. Despite all these hurdles, many new programmers land jobs and they go on to thrive. I want to share a few quick, true-to-life examples, names changed for privacy of course, that really show how perseverance and smart strategy can make all the difference. Think of Lena, who went from being a barista, self-studying every evening, to landing a back-end developer role in about 14 months by focusing on one niche and building incredibly targeted projects. Or Jamal, a bootcamp grad who initially struggled, then built experience through freelance gigs before transitioning to a full-time engineering role. And Priya, who successfully switched careers by cleverly leveraging her previous non-tech experience to add unique value to her new developer role. These aren't exceptions, they are examples of what's possible. The road to becoming a working programmer, as we've discussed, is very rarely a straight, easy line. It's almost always filled with incredible highs when you solve a tough problem or get positive feedback, but also deep lows of frustration, self-doubt, and the uncertainty that comes with job hunting. But here's a crucial thing to remember. Every single successful developer you admire today, every senior engineer, every tech lead, they were once a beginner facing very similar, if not identical, challenges. The key difference, the thing that sets them apart, is that they didn't give up. They kept learning, kept pushing, and kept believing in their ability to break through. So my final thought for you is this. Keep that hope alive, but pair it with consistent action. Stay curious, always be learning, and keep building things. Things that excite you, things that challenge you, things that showcase your growing skills. Your first job, that role you're working so hard for, is out there. And when you finally land it, you'll look back and realize that this challenging journey didn't just make you a coder. It forged you into a resilient, resourceful, and thoughtful professional. Remember, in programming, just like in life, progress almost always happens one bug, one solution, one small, hard-won victory at a time. Your story could absolutely be the next success we share. Keep going, because hope, when it's backed by determined action, always finds a way. Peace. If this spoke to your journey, don't stop here. Hit that like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more untold truths about mastering your career and mindset. Drop a comment with your story. We just might feature it next. You're not behind. You're just getting started.